Hello everyone and welcome back to Normandy. This is a really special episode today, coming from Carentan, the scene of some of the most ferocious fighting in Normandy between the German 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment and the 101st Airborne Division. I'm going to show you some pictures I guarantee you've never seen before, and I will share with you what I think is one of the greatest tragedies of the liberation of Normandy. But stick around to the end to see what that is. So now approaching the train track, and this is a picture that lots of people do when they come here to do then and now photos. I need to cross the road to get the right perspective, but there's a picture that you'll be familiar with of this building which has lots of damage on the gable end side. It looks like the gable end's been hit by a mortar round or something like that, and you can see a vehicle in front of it. So we're going to cross the road. I'll line this up for you and it should all make sense. We're crossing over the train track now, and we're coming to an area where you can look over at this traffic circle roundabout right here. Now, it was in this location that Carwood Lipton was actually wounded in Carentan. You can see that on the Band of Brothers episode where they attacked Carentan, and it happened right here. So that's pretty cool. Right, let's crack on and see if we can get some more then and now pictures. Well, hopefully we line that up okay. You can see that this would have been a level crossing back in 1944. There was no barriers here stopping vehicles from crossing over, and you can see clearly that armoured vehicle is looking to cross over in the direction that I'm standing. Hopefully you agree that we've lined that up quite well. Ideally, I'd like to be stood on the other side of this barrier near the train tracks. I think it's taken slightly closer. That's about as good as we're going to get. I saw this picture of the Hotel Durand and it looked as though it was going to be torn down, so I knew I had to get there early to see it. This hotel was used as the aid station in Carentan and for the surrounding area. And you can see the soldiers seem ill rather than wounded, so perhaps they had heat stroke or exhaustion. And this is the view today. Now this is the aid station in Carentan, and this is the route down the Rue de Holgate that Easy Company took when they assaulted Carentan. Down there is the train tracks that lead in towards the centre of town. Now you can see here that the building is being completely gutted. Now, I'm very lucky that I've been given permission to come into this building site to take some then and now videos of images that were taken right here when this building was used as an aid station for US troops. And there are some amazing pictures taken inside. Unfortunately, I can't get inside. There's asbestos and all sorts of other nasty things that I'm told is preventing me from being allowed to go in there. But I can still take some pictures outside of this amazing location, and I think you're going to agree that they are quite extraordinary. Okay, so the first one is of this outbuilding here, which is just outside the main building, and this is where you can see an ambulance and soldiers being brought to the hospital. Now, this is actually connected to the hospital via a wing, and you can see the main gates there. The main gates are located just here, and this takes you out onto Rue de Holgate, which is the main route that the 506th actually took into Carentan. Obviously there's lots of things in the way, that means we can't actually see the doorway very well, but I think we've lined that up okay. Just let me know what you think. And that's where the ambulance would have been parked, right there in the corner. Look at those wonderful stairs. This building was built in the 1700s. The builders told me this was 1757, I believe it was. So that is an amazingly old building. It's now being renovated. They're going to turn it into flats. What wonderful stairs. And this was used as an aid station in the days following D-Day and the battle through Normandy. And I'll show you some pictures that were taken right outside here.
Now, these images were all taken in this garden area behind the hotel, which is a walled garden. And now, unfortunately, none of this exists anymore. It's a car park. But one of the pictures I really wanted to capture was this chap reading a book by the tree.
Right, we're now going to head up into the centre of town where there's some really fantastic pictures to take. Now this one is really hard to line up. Still not convinced we've got it right. But I'd have to go into the road if I was going to get it, I think. I think that is about it. So let's have a look. Let's try and overlay that picture and see how we get on. Don't think I've got this one. So now making our way through the main square in Carentan, which is used for a market on some days, but it's a big car park today. And we're heading into the Place de République, which is, and my accent's obviously terrible, I can't speak French, which is where there was an award ceremony that took place after the town was liberated. There's a really sad story associated with it. I'm going to try and find the location of some of those pictures.
Before I tell you about what I think is the most tragic story in all of Normandy, I want to show you the liberation of Carentan and the many medals parades, because yes, there were more than one, that were held in this place.
The main place in Carentan with its memorial bedecked with Allied flags. Service and newsreel cameramen were soon in the town after it had fallen. There was fighting still going on the outskirts when the people of Carentan came out of their cellars in which they had been sheltering to greet their liberators.
Now, as the Germans withdrew and as the Americans cleared the town, the locals began to display the US flags and the French flags from their shops and their houses.
Just moving over slightly. I think it's about here like this.
They held Silver Star parades here at a time when the Germans were still within indirect weapon ranges. And you can probably guess what happened next as the Germans began shelling this crossroad town. 65 civilians in Carentan were killed during the fighting here, including actually during the bombardment on D-Day. However, most of those fatalities were actually incurred through artillery and mortar fire fired by the Germans.
Now, thankfully, the sun is just behind a cloud at this very moment. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be able to get this footage. Super bright at the moment. Beautiful day.
So I'm now going to show you one of those parades, and here you can see the 4 regimental commanders from the 101st Airborne Division, where they're receiving their medals from Brigadier General Maxwell Taylor. You might be able to recognise Colonel Sink, second from right. Now remember that I mentioned these parades took place before the area had been secured, and I'll show you a picture of the Allies pushing through the town to clear south, which you can see here with this vehicle exiting the Place. But the Germans still had artillery and mortars within range, and they would do all they could to harass this crossroads town. So on June the 23rd, the population gathered for another medal ceremony, and this time 2 German shells fell in the middle of the crowd. They killed 5 civilians and they wounded 19, including a young girl who was only 4 years old. And this young girl was Danielle Laisney, seen here stood with her mother behind her. So she was due to give flowers to one of the soldiers that day, and instead, unfortunately, she died in the arms of medic Bob Wright. And here she is in the same white dress that you can see in the picture. It's utterly heartbreaking.
Now, I wouldn't ordinarily come to cemeteries. That's not really my my thing. I don't think I really ever visit cemeteries other than military ones. So, really sad story. The reason I want to show this is just to emphasize the point that we should always consider civilian factor when it comes to warfare. Whenever you start a war, people must do so knowing that it will cause civilian casualties. It's guaranteed. And in Carentan, I've already said, but there were 65 civilians who died when the town was liberated, and in the days following that when the Germans still continued to shell Carentan. So replicate that through every single town in Normandy, and you can start to see how it's estimated 6,000 civilians died in the liberation of Normandy. So there we go.
If you made it to this point and you enjoy your military history, then why not check out the other videos that I've made from all across Normandy. I've left a link to this video in particular on screen. You might also want to support the channel by becoming a Patreon member. I make these videos in my spare time whilst I'm also serving in the military, and I will host more and more member-only content on Patreon in the coming months. So also please visit our shop. We've got History Explorer t-shirts and mugs. The mugs are proving really popular. They're selling out very quickly, so go and get your hands on one of them. Well, thank you very much for watching. Until next time.